In this quiet moment, we open our hearts to the sacred and step into the light of the eternal. You are currently going through something that will completely alter your life. Selected 1. You see, something special has been growing inside of you while you've been living your normal life. A gift that is so potent and dangerous for people who work in the dark that it is reverberating in every setting you enter. Recently, you've been wondering why certain individuals seem uneasy around you. Why do you continually feeling the need to pull away from circumstances that appear to be fine on the surface? And why have some relationships been feeling odd than usual? What I'm going to tell you will make sense of every odd encounter, instinct you've been ignoring, and strange individual you've been interacting with lately. However, you must first realize that your current situation is a part of something far larger, a spiritual development that has been developing for years. Additionally, those in your immediate vicinity are beginning to recognize that they are surrounded by someone who is operating on an entirely different frequency. The co-worker who has been inquiring excessively about your initiatives. That friend who has been trying to find out what you have planned. That love interest who has been subtly pushing your limits. They're all related to what's going to be disclosed because you, the chosen one, have created something that makes every energy vampire, manipulator, and person who has based their entire life on taking advantage of people shudder. It's impossible to fool you now. There have been those in your life who have been acting as though they are 10 steps ahead of you. They have been observing your habits, researching your shortcomings, and formulating their strategy to either take advantage of you, control you, or put themselves in a position to profit from your success. Here's what they didn't anticipate, though. Along the way, you created an internal warning system that is so advanced that it detects their intentions before they are fully formed. That's why you've been experiencing those sensations, those times when things doesn't feel quite right, but you can't quite figure out why. Though not in the manner you might expect, your spirit has been trying to alert you to the fact that you are being pursued. Enemies that seek to destroy you are not pursuing you. People are pursuing you because they want to control you, take advantage of your energy, and possess you. This distinction is important because it clarifies why their strategy has been so subdued and seemingly benign. They've been attempting to approach you closely enough to observe your techniques, pilfer your concepts, follow you about, or just use your energy to support their own unfulfilling life. Every inexplicable emotion, every sudden desire to leave a place, and every person you've automatically avoided despite having no rational explanation will all be explained by what you're going to learn. You've acquired what can only be called spiritual radar, the capacity to spot deceit, manipulation, and ulterior motives before they materialize. This goes beyond simple intuition. This is much more sophisticated. Others completely overlook the undercurrents of tension, alliance, and secret objectives that you can sense as soon as you enter into a room. You can tell which discussions are authentic versus performative, who is acting like a friend but holding anger, and who are the true power players. Beloved, lean in. Faith is stirring right now. When you sow in faith, God meets you with favor, not from pressure, but from promise. If this message has fed your spirit, sow where you are fed. Tap the YouTube Super Thanks button and plant a seed. $20, $50, or more as the Lord leads. The Word backs this up. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over. Luke 6 verse 38, KJV. That's God's heart toward cheerful givers. Your seed today fuels the gospel, lifts hurting people, and keeps this message reaching homes around the world. When you release what's in your hand, you make room for God to release what's in His. I'm praying over every gift with expectation. I speak peace over your home, strength over your body, wisdom for your decisions, and open doors you couldn't have opened on your own. Agree with me. My seed is blessed, my future is blessed, and I will not lack any good thing. Go ahead, click Super Thanks now, and sow your $20, $50, or any amount on your heart. Let's act in faith together, and let's watch God do what only He can do. The most crucial thing is that you can tell when someone is researching you with the intention of using the data against you. Trump has not made a payment. What's interesting is how this shows up in your day-to-day activities. Even when everyone appears to be getting along well at the conference, you may sense that something is wrong. You later learn that you were aware of but unable to actively identify a full office politics subplot that was unfolding. Or you can run into a charming person who shows interest in your life, but danger shouts from every cell in your body. And weeks later, everyone else can clearly see what their genuine motivations are. This gift has found a new outlet in your dreams. It's likely that your dreams concerning the people in your life have been getting more detailed lately. Dreams that appear to disclose their innermost feelings or plans for the future. Don't write these off as arbitrary brain activity. Information that your conscious mind isn't yet ready to absorb is being processed by your subconscious mind. Additionally, it's preparing you for what's next by using scenarios and symbols to communicate with you. The most amazing aspect of your development, however, is this. You've come to fully trust this gift. You may have doubted yourself at one point, questioning your instincts and being in circumstances longer than required, since you were unable to provide evidence that something was amiss. Those times are gone. When that sense strikes you right now, that distinct feeling that shouts something is amiss, you don't waste time constructing a case or obtaining evidence. You just take yourself completely out of the equation. This change has been most noticeable in your work life, as you have seen co-workers who first appeared to be good gradually show their true motivations. You have avoided numerous workplace ambushes because of your ability to recognize these patterns before they become completely apparent. You were already safeguarding your interests and modifying your degree of transparency, while others continued to give these people the benefit of the doubt. You had long ago moved out of their grasp by the time their actual nature was exposed to the rest of the world, so they had to explain why their well-thought-out plans inexplicably failed to include their intended target. An equally big change has occurred in your romantic life. The days of explaining inconsistent conduct or offering explanations to partners who were unable to constantly match your energy are long gone. You now understand that love bombing is a manipulation technique intended to establish a false sense of connection that may be withdrawn later as a means of control. You don't pursue or attempt to regain the original intensity when someone shows you excessive attention early on, but then becomes aloof and unavailable once they detect your engagement. You just take note of the trend and modify your expectations as necessary. You won't play games where someone posts on social media throughout the day while seeming too busy to respond to texts right away. You don't interact with those who fabricate a lack of time and attention in order to increase their perceived value. Rather, you are drawn to those whose interest in you never wanes and whose behavior is congruent with their statements. As you've learned to negotiate the intricate expectations and emotional manipulation that can occur within family systems without compromising your harmony or condoning dysfunction, even your family dynamics have changed. Yellow heart if you're moved by divine love. Now is the moment to share it. Click the Super Thanks button on YouTube and contribute $50 or more to help us broadcast God's blessings far and wide. Every act of generosity you make is being watched in heaven and will return to you 100-fold. That family member who constantly played victim anytime you set boundaries, or the relative whose crises usually coincided with your moments of achievement. You've gained the wisdom to shield your energy field from their chaos, while yet loving them from a distance. You've learned that sometimes, in order to experience true love, you have to disappoint those who have become accustomed to your past self-sacrificing tendencies. Some relationships had to be completely redesigned when you stopped being the family therapist, the free financial counselor, or the emotional repository for everyone's troubles. The wonderful news is that your family members who truly care about your health have learned to accept your new boundaries and value the healthier you've become. However, your gift extends beyond self-defense. The stakes start to rise sharply at this point, which is why certain people are getting more and more desperate to manipulate or discredit you. You are now a force for awakening in other people. People begin to doubt their own ability to tolerate disorder everywhere you go, because you have a frequency that makes it more difficult to maintain deception and simpler to express authenticity. Your presence alone upends destructive patterns. It's due of your increased awareness of toxic workplace dynamics that you've become the go-to person for guidance in your field, because they have seen how you handle these circumstances with knowledge and grace. Colleagues go to you for advice when they are dealing with manipulative managers or backstabbing teammates. Your observations are useful. Them identify trends that they might have written off as either personality clashes or workplace politics. The ability to foresee workplace turmoil before it fully develops has a prophetic quality. You'll pick up on little clues, like how particular individuals conduct themselves at meetings, who they side with in disagreements, or how they subtly learn about impending projects. Additionally, you are able to predict the political storms that are simmering beneath the surface. This gift has prevented you and countless others from becoming embroiled in needless conflict at work. Your impact goes well beyond face-to-face interactions. Because of the example you set, some members of your extended network, friends of friends, distant co-workers, and even complete strangers who have watched your interactions are choosing differently. Someone was inspired to create limits in their own life after witnessing your tough, yet graceful handling of a challenging individual. Someone else was motivated to end a relationship that was undermining their self-esteem after witnessing your capacity to exit a poisonous circumstance without looking back. You are extremely hazardous to those that make money by keeping people disoriented, reliant, and caught in dysfunctional cycles because of this knock-on impact. Each individual you assist in waking up reduces the number of victims in their game. It becomes more difficult to control anyone who follows your example and learns to trust their instincts. Every soul that learns to value itself by seeing how you value yours puts the entire system of control and exploitation at jeopardy. Your gift's ability to transcend interpersonal relationships and influence collective dynamics is its most potent feature. You've developed the ability to detect tension, alliance, and covert objectives without anyone else's help when you enter a room. You can tell who is actually in a position of authority, who is feigning friendship while holding animosity, and whose interactions are authentic versus theatrical during social events, professional meetings, or even family get-togethers. Because of this skill, you are extremely valuable to real people who are sick of being taken advantage of by social manipulation, because they understand that your presence acts as a buffer against poisonous dynamics. They are drawn to you. The manipulators can't work as freely when you're nearby, because your energy field interferes with their typical strategies. You seem to possess a frequency that facilitates the expression of sincerity and makes it more difficult to maintain deceit. You have such a strong effect on group dynamics that some toxic people will actually stay away from places where they know you'll be around. They know instinctively that their typical games won't work around you. So instead of taking the chance of being exposed, they just take themselves out of the picture. You are now surrounded by more sincere and encouraging communities as a result of this natural filtering effect. Financial abundance has started to flow more freely in your life, as the inauthentic people have started to self-select out of your orbit, in part because you no longer tolerate relationships and circumstances that deplete your resources without offering reciprocal advantages. Realizing that your energy is your most significant asset, you've started to be very picky about where you spend it. This change in perspective has brought you into alignment with possibilities that respect your value instead of taking advantage of your generosity. The stakes are pretty high here, though, and this is the reason for the weird energy you've been feeling recently. Not everyone whose games you've interrupted will simply concede defeat and move on. They're reorganizing, planning, and looking for fresh approaches to get back in touch with you or lessen the impact you have on other people. The hunter's tactics are become more coordinated, desperate, and sophisticated. The most advanced form of spiritual warfare is what you are going through at the moment. Everything I've explained has been leading up to this turning point in your life, When you realize the full extent of what has been going on, the attacks don't appear in overt ways. They pose as chances, attempts at reconciliation, or even spiritual lessons meant to cause you to question your own judgment. People you've cut off contact with may be sending you messages, carefully constructed messages intended to see if you're still susceptible to their influence. Keep an eye on when these attempts at reconnecting occur. This is not an accident. Even though it's unconscious, it's coordination. Frequencies that go beyond personal awareness are used in the spiritual world. Additionally, other agents will be triggered to neutralize any threat to the systems of control and manipulation. The cosmos itself is working together to either test your dedication to your new consciousness or propel you to the next level, since you have become such a disruptive force to harmful dynamics. Here's the shocking reality that alters everything, though. You were playing a much deeper game without realizing it while they were busy planning and plotting, analyzing your patterns, and attempting to identify your weaknesses. Though not consciously, you have always been aware of their plots on a deeper level of your soul than is often perceptible to humans. Their best level of strategy has been 3 steps behind your spirit. Every individual you've avoided, every circumstance you've stayed away from, and every boundary you've upheld has stopped a well-planned assault on your tranquility, your prosperity, or your vitality. Bullets that you were unaware were being fired at you have been evading you. That position from where you left. Dove brothers and sisters, everything done in faith multiplies in God's abundance. Use the Super Thanks feature to donate $100 today and join this sacred mission. When your roots are grounded in Him, your fruit will flourish, and your offering becomes a seed that bears blessed harvests. In any case, they intended to demote or expel you. They were already talking to other individuals behind your back in the relationship you ended. They were planning to keep you out of future prospects. That group of friends you broke up with, the folks who intended to take advantage of you, are now trying to figure out what went wrong. They invested a great deal of time and effort into establishing themselves, fostering trust, and setting up the ideal scenario for their plan. And then all of a sudden you're just out of their reach, and they're unable to figure out how you knew. The most astounding aspect is about to happen. Trump and Deton. Without even attempting, you've been outwitting them. You have a gift that goes beyond defense. It has been aggressively interfering with their capacity to cause harm to others. Each time you spoke your viewpoint on a harmful individual or circumstance, you were sowing the seeds that eventually blossomed into the freedom of others. Every limit you have set has allowed someone else to defend themselves. You have shown that it is possible to choose peace over chaos each time you have left dysfunction behind. You've developed such a unique energy signature that genuine people are drawn to you. On the other hand, inauthentic individuals become more uneasy around you. You haven't had to fake this or work at it. It is the inevitable outcome of continuously prioritizing self-respect above public approval, truth over convenience, and serenity over chaos. Your frequency now functions like a tuning fork, producing dissonance for those who operate through deceit and manipulation while resonating with people who share your values. There is a certain kind of person who has developed a near obsession with discovering your secret. How can you maintain such composure in the face of chaos? How you always manage to bounce back from significant life changes? How to avoid poisonous relationships and draw in real ones? They look at your social media, evaluate your decisions, and attempt to imitate your outward actions without realizing that your strength stems from internal alignment rather than outward tactics. This, however, is the most devastating truth for your potential manipulators. The extent of your change is demonstrated by how you react to their attempts at reconnection. You now function from a place of calm discernment, as opposed to the past, when you might have felt pressured to defend yourself or offer others several chances to demonstrate their shift. Over time, you've discovered that people's acts reveal their true selves to you. Furthermore, fleeting good conduct driven by desire is not the same as true transformation. You've sharpened your senses to recognize phony apologies and deceptive attempts at reconciliation. When someone's outreach is motivated by self-interest rather than sincere regret for how they treated you, you can tell right away. The ex who sends sentimental notes while their current circumstances aren't working out, or the individual who abruptly wants to catch up while they're going through a tough moment. These patterns are immediately apparent to you. It's impressive how you've learned to handle these circumstances with compassion while upholding firm boundaries. Cutting and cruelty are no longer necessary for self-defense. A straightforward, "I wish you well," followed by no further interaction, conveys all that has to be stated. Manipulators are frustrated by this level of emotional maturity because it prevents them from portraying you as the bad guy when you are constantly polite, yet unavailable for their schemes. Because you stand for something that challenges the entire control matrix that traps individuals in cycles of dysfunction, victimization, and external validation, the spiritual struggle has reached its zenith. Your very presence is proof that you may live a different life, that happiness doesn't depend on everyone's approval, that tranquility doesn't depend on dominating others, and that success isn't endangered by the plans or ideas of others. You've turned into a living example of the existence of true power, and the fact that anyone who is prepared to put in the necessary internal effort can get it. This explains why the attacks have been getting more intense, why there have been more attempts at reconciliation, and why some people appear practically frantic to get back into your energy. Because your progress undermines their entire worldview. They require you to go back to your old ways of self-sacrifice and pleasing others. The scope of your triumph is now abundantly evident, and you can see the whole picture of what has been happening in your life. Who attempted to use you, Pen? Every plan that failed when you took yourself out of the picture. Once you stopped supporting dysfunction, all toxic relationships disappeared. It was all a part of your spiritual development into a person who is uncontrollable, unmanageable, and unexploited. When the chosen ones achieve this state of awareness, they become living examples of the existence of true power and the fact that anyone who is prepared to put truth before comfort can attain it. It was more than simply your personal freedom that led you through the dark. Being a lighthouse for others who are prepared to escape the same cycles that formerly held you back was the goal. Those who wagered against you are learning how mistaken they were about your ability to rise above, transcend, and eventually win over every challenge that stands in your way. Your testimony has unintentionally included many who believed they were using you as a springboard for their own success. Their efforts to undermine you just serve to emphasize how resilient you are. Their attempts to exert control over you only serve to highlight your independence. Their plots to prevent you from moving forward simply serve to highlight your progress and future goals. Because you no longer tolerate relationships and circumstances that deplete your resources without offering reciprocal benefits, your financial abundance has grown dramatically. You've made room by getting go of things that don't serve you, so opportunities that fit your values and objectives are coming to you organically. When you stop investing in people and circumstances that don't yield any return on your spiritual, mental, or emotional investment, money flows more easily. Because you don't play games or put up with unreliable behavior from possible partners, your relationship life has changed into something lovely and long-lasting. Because they have seen your capacity to see beyond appearances and spot real chances for growth and success. Colleagues respect your judgment and look to you for advice. Because others trust your judgment and integrity, leadership positions are naturally becoming available. In place of duty and guilt, even your family ties have found a new balance based on respect for one another. In order to make room for closer relationships with people who truly support your development and happiness, the family members who were resistive to your boundaries have either learned to respect them or have naturally distanced themselves. Glowing star yearning to witness God's miracles firsthand? Plant your spiritual seed now by contributing $100 or more through the YouTube Super Thanks button. Your offering lights the path for others and echoes through His divine plan, bringing His light into every step you take. You've discovered how to love others without condoning their dysfunction or putting your own health at risk in order to keep the peace. The universe has been reacting to this change in your awareness with opportunities, synchronicity, and confirmations that keep confirming your decisions and strengthening your faith in your inner wisdom. Whereas doors that would mislead you stay securely closed, doors that are intended for you open with ease, while those who would drain or divert you eventually disappear. Those who are meant to be in your life show up at the perfect time. Beyond your immediate circle, you are becoming more and more of a catalyst for others' awakening, because you represent the power and serenity that people are looking for in their own life. They are pulled to your social media postings, interactions, and very presence. You don't need to lecture or preach about these facts. You just live them, and the example you set inspires others. Numerous people are impacted by your metamorphosis in ways you might never completely comprehend. Each individual you have assisted in identifying a harmful trend has gone on to assist others in doing the same. Because of your example, everyone who has learned to trust their intuition is able to help others discover their own inner wisdom. Each soul that learned to value themselves by seeing how you value yours adds to the raising of the general consciousness. Certain individuals from your past are now observing your path with a mix of remorse and confusion. The repercussions of losing someone who would have supported you through everything are likely being felt by the friend who decided to believe rumors about you rather than seeking your version of events. If your love partner didn't value your consistency and loyalty when you were available, they probably have trouble finding that same characteristic in future relationships. Some of them are sincerely sorry for how they treated you. They realized too late that they had access to someone very exceptional and decided to take advantage of that opportunity. Others continue to tell themselves stories about how your accomplishment is fleeting or unworthy, all while functioning from the same consciousness that first made them devalue you. In any case, you've moved past the need for their acceptance or validation. Therefore, their views no longer influence your reality. As you reach new heights of success and fulfillment that they never thought were conceivable for you, the adversaries and manipulators who believed they could use you as a springboard to further their own careers are now observing you from the sidelines. Since your achievement demonstrates that real power cannot be stolen, controlled, or faked, it puts their entire worldview in jeopardy. It can only be cultivated by continual alignment with truth and sincere introspection. The fact that your victory was achieved without the need for retaliation, revenge, dramatic confrontations, or public exposures is what makes it so complete. You just kept your limits, followed your gut, and repeatedly made the right decision. The rest was taken care of by the cosmos, which made sure that everyone who attempted to hurt you eventually showed the world who they really were. You are now functioning from such genuine power that manipulative strategies just bounce off you like arrows off armor. Even as you continue to ascend above the turmoil they caused, you've developed your energy signature to the point that it naturally draws in sincere individuals and drives away those who use deceit and exploitation. You don't have to keep up this protection all the time. At the cellular level, it has become a part of who you are. Stepping fully into your role as a leader and mentor for people who are prepared to escape destructive cycles and take control of their own lives is the next step in your path. People who are ready to regain their sovereignty and are fed up with feeling helpless can use your tale as a guide. Others who have been scared to put their own health ahead of toxic allegiance and social expectations can now do so thanks to your example. By refusing to play games that don't serve your highest good, you are the one who outsmarts the enemy. Through your personal path to liberation, you serve as the beacon that leads others to safety. You are a live example of how fleeting situations and narrow-minded people who interpret your generosity as weakness cannot threaten true authority. The cosmos is observing. Your destiny is playing out just the way it was always supposed to, and the angels are applauding. Every obstacle you've surmounted has made you stronger. Every adversary you have defeated has equipped you for more difficult conflicts. Each of your accomplishments has made you eligible for greater chances. Choose one. Your greatest adventures are just getting started. The people you were supposed to walk with are on their way. Opportunities that fit your purpose are coming to you. Right now, the abundance you have been preparing to receive is coming your way. You're going to show those who gambled against you how incredibly mistaken they were about your ability to not just survive, but flourish beyond their wildest expectations. You are the author and the protagonist of the story as it progresses.